Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your ever-loving host, Shorty. It's in the way. And this is my first of two reviews today. I'm going to do another one later on today, probably very late in the day, like 5:30. So that's 5:05 GMT. If you want to mark that in your calendar, you can actually watch one of these as it happens. But right now, we're going to be reviewing Knighted from AWA. AWA is one of those small press companies that I'm paying a lot more attention to at the moment. There's two that are standing out for me at the moment. Vault and AWA are both doing interesting things with interesting creators. Is everything they do perfect? No, of course not. But they seem to be hitting my own personal sweet spot a little bit more often than the rest of them. I still like Aftershock, I still like Scout, I still even like Ahoy, even though I don't do much anymore, but these two are the ones I'm paying attention to. And this one by Greg Hurt and Mike Teixeira. I've got to be honest, I'm mainly just like that cover. It's clearly the Frank Miller riff. I kind of made a joke on it the other day. I was like, hey, I wonder if anyone thinks that looks like Frank Miller. It clearly is. There's nothing else that looks like. Unless you're going to say it looks like someone else who's doing a riff on the Frank Miller thing. And weirdly, that's pretty much the only comparison I've made to it. The rest of it doesn't feel that Frank Miller at all. It's got more of a sense of humor than he has, and it's got more of a down-to-earth realism than he writes. And the writing is actually really, really good. But it's also kind of like in a larger scope of things, it's also the thing about it which rubbed me slightly the wrong way. We'll talk about the art first, though, because I really like the artist. Mike Teixeira does a style which reminds me a lot of Derek Robertson. Don't get me wrong, he does it his own way, but Derek Robertson's first one jumps to mind. And that is basically going for a sense of naturalist realism, but having no problem kind of like accentuating features a little bit. Basically not quite doing full caricatures or anything like that, but just enough so it doesn't come across like he's trying to do photorealism. Because I think there's only a few certain artists out there who I would actually really enjoy them doing photorealism. Bradstreet being one of them. But most of the time, what I want is it to look like a comic book. This is what I'm reading. It's the art style I'm going for. It is the medium I am interested in. So trying to push too far away from that to, I don't know, attempt a fake elevation, I think could come across as just being too far up your own bottom. And thankfully, the writing and the art don't do that at all. Not only is the art very, very humanistic and very realistic, the dialogue between characters is as well. There's a rather wonderful bit here after the main character. And by the way, there's going to be a lot of spoilers in this review. I'm going to talk about the plot quite a lot. Basically been turned down from a proposal to his girlfriend, and that conversation there is brilliant. It is very much a realistic backwards and forwards between two people where it hasn't been rehearsed. It's spur of the moment and interruptions and little digressions and thinking out loud. It's basically how real people converse. It's brilliant, and it works really, really effectively. It's when we get to some of the larger details that I think I'm left a little bit lacking. For a start, let's talk about the woman, the fiancée, as I can't even remember her name off the top of my head. I'm not entirely sure if she even gets much of a mention, other than just being a fiancé who turns him down. Girlfriend who turns him down for being a fiancé, should I say. And it's basically kind of like a cliche of the woman not being happy with what she's got. You see this quite often in fiction. This idea that a woman meets somebody, falls in love with them, lives with them, but then is not happy with what they are, like expecting constant growth and constant change. I don't get me wrong, like people being stuck in a rut not necessarily a good thing, but there's also such a thing as just accepting somebody for who they are. And quite often, I tend to see that written as women, and I don't think that's true in real life at all. It is a cliche, in fact, and it's one that I think, I don't know, the use of it that early on kind of sets a little bit of the tone in my head. And I was reading the rest of it, and I was enjoying it. The actual plot of it is this random dude who was a crime tech for the police department in a world where superheroes have just very minor superhero powers and just pick up a thing. Other stuff's happening within AWA, I think, and it ties into that world. But there is an actual superhero who he accidentally kills because this superhero is basically perving on some women. There's a couple of bits where there's things which are not quite shown or not quite said, and this is one of them. You don't get like a full detail about what's going on, but he's literally hanging from a rope, watching women, and then falls and hurts his head. Now there could be more going on. There's literally a prostitute outside of a Disney store there. I'm okay with subtlety. I quite like it. But you get to the end and actually find out why he's done this, basically because the powers of this guy is actually all in the suit. It's just whoever's wearing it is superpowered. He basically, the writer, sorry, I forgot the guy's name, Greg Horowitz, really wanted the idea of a Spider-Man-like character who's full of joy of life, who's interesting and entertaining and easygoing, to be given the mantle of a Batman kind of character who's dark and gothic and brooding. And I kind of like the idea of that one. But then this is not in the comic book, this is in the back matter, he talks about him as being the epitome of the nice guy finishes last. And that's another cliche, which is problematic. Generally, that's used as an excuse for people to do terrible things, to not be nice to people, to basically justify being an arse. And I can't help but feel that it's an entertaining, it could be an entertaining take on these characters. It could actually inform some quite good storytelling, but because of the early cliche he's dropped and now this one, I'm hoping he's not going to be so reliant on just these kind of like big obvious ideas, and he's going to ramp up his chance to take some interesting diversions along his own kind of path. Hopefully that'll be the way it goes. Hopefully there's certainly enough promise in there that I think he can deliver, but let's see how it goes. We've still got 4 more issues of it. Right, that's it for right now, though. I'm coming back later on today, and I'm doing one for my own pull list, which I think is going to be Rush, Sam Spurrier doing horror, or it could be Human Target, Tom King doing crime. Who knows? Let's see how it goes. I'm going to read one of them later on and do a review at 5:30. Until then, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.